What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hardworking Happy Hour podcast. I am Sean.
And I'm Catherine. And as always, we will be breaking down all things trades, entrepreneurship, and turning your creativity into a passion career.
All right. And it's episode 4 now, right?
Yeah, episode 4.
Time flies. Time really flies when you're recording podcasts. And
sure does.
With that being said, it's 2 days before New Year's.
Yes, it is.
And that leads us into what we're going to be talking about this week, which is setting goals for the new year. Not only setting them, but how to evaluate them, how to track them, how to stick to them.
Yeah.
What goals to set.
Yeah.
All of that kind of stuff. It's just going to be goal central here, and we're going to break it all down for you.
Yeah, absolutely. The New Year's is a great time for a refresh.
It certainly is. And it's a good excuse to put off all those things like in December, even November, and say, you know what, I'll just wait till the new year. So hopefully everyone's enjoying the last couple days of your old life because it's time for a refresh and a rebirth.
Yep, and you're going to be so inspired to restart everything and just hit those goals.
You might want to even start a day early.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, this won't come out until after New Year's, but
yeah,
you guys, everybody gets the idea. So
let's talk about what we're drinking.
Yep, that is an important thing, and it was my week to choose a cocktail.
Yep.
And instead of choosing a cocktail, because it's a kind of a New Year's episode, I got 2 bottles of champagne. You did very nicely bring out 2 glasses for them, but I personally am just going to drink it out of the bottle as almost a way to cleanse this year and start fresh.
Yeah, I like it.
For whatever that means, drinking out of a champagne bottle like an animal, but that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I'm going to join you in that. I think I like that vibe for this episode.
I think I do too, because you can't be too uptight when you're setting goals, and you can't just be like over analyzing it. You got to find that balance, and we're going to get into that there you go.
Sorry, I got to grab my bottle. We haven't popped it yet. We wanted to pop it
live
on air. I
don't know, honestly, if I've ever done this before, to be completely honest with you.
I think I've done it like once or twice. Just make sure that... Oh, now I feel like I need a knife or something to open this, but they do shoot around, and we don't want to damage our new beautiful van, so...
We definitely don't.
Hang on to it.
Yeah.
Don't let it go flying.
And this is not, your bottom shelf kind of stuff. This was almost $16 a bottle, which is very expensive.
Very nice. Okay, so...
It's even got this fancy little... Does all champagne have this? I'm not much of a champagne drinker.
Yes, they do, because that's what keeps the cap on, or else it'll just like...
Oh, shoot off.
Yeah, pop
okay.
Off. Pop bottles. So
that makes sense.
That's what they say. Do you think this is going to explode?
I don't know.
We're talking a lot of visual things when people are listening to this.
Whoa, all right.
You got it.
There you go. All right, mine's opened.
Okay, Yay! Yeah. Okay, and it didn't even spill, so... Cheers to 2022.
Yay.
All right. This is... I honestly love New Year's. It's probably my favorite holiday. I love, starting fresh, having a good... I don't know why it feels... You can start new things at any time of year, and I don't want to tell people that they can't. But, New Year's just feels so special. It feels like a new... I don't know, like a new opportunity.
Yeah, you can completely change everything up, and... I think some people look at it too much like how I was just saying, it's almost an excuse just to completely give up on yourself for November and December. Because you're like, New Year's, I'm going to totally change everything. And there's a lot of people that set goals that are maybe too abstract, that are too large, or just not realistic. And they're the people that go to the gym New Year's Day. Mm-hmm. And they go for a couple weeks, and then you never see them again in there, and they just give up.
That's true.
So
we don't want to be those people, but it is so nice if you just have a fresh calendar.
Yeah.
And you can complete a year of planning something out.
I agree. And I'm also very big on New Year's resolutions, New Year's, just that whole vibe. And I've always set a lot of resolutions, probably too many. And previously, I've never really set up a system to track those goals. I kind of check in with them every now and then, but what we're going to try to do this year is really track our goals, check in with them, see how we're doing, kind of evaluate it, and, hopefully be better at getting those goals and really having a concrete number or goal that we can measure against instead of something super abstract. So we will be getting into that, but why don't we start with what goals we had for this year? Last year and the year before were just completely insane with the way of the world. So I feel like that derailed a lot of people, but I think everybody's ready to start fresh this year and get everything back to normal.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Definitely.
We'll see.
I mean, what is normal? You just gotta adjust.
It's all about this new norm.
It's the new norm.
I don't know this new norm, but I don't like them. I don't like them at all. But anyway, 2021, you want to start with your goals obviously changed because you had a big life change, leaving a super stable corporate job and starting to work for a small deck and patio business.
Don't say it like that.
We're larger than life here, actually. Yeah. So, why don't you talk about some of your goals that you had and, how you made out with those and whether you checked in with them and...
Yeah. I'm a huge goal setter. I love nothing more than to set goals and to track them, and organization is like big for me, so I love that. With changing careers, a lot of my goals were either career related. I wanted to get a different job title, and I wanted to make sure that my finances were in check. And when you change careers and all that kind of stuff, all of that went out the window. But I guess technically I did change job titles. Yeah. Just in a different way. I hadn't expected.
You weren't the director of global expansion at your last company.
I was not, no.
Okay, well, sounds like a promotion to me.
Yeah, it's a pretty big upgrade. So all right, nailed that one.
Yeah.
Let's check that one off the box. And then financial stuff. So when I also love like tracking finances very closely and all that kind of stuff. So I had goals set as to what I thought was appropriate but in my before life, and now I just pivoted in my once I got a new job, I just set new goals for the end of the year, which was only a couple months, but
important to have those goals.
Yeah, I just had to pivot a little bit and I nailed those. So I'm like
you're like batting 1,000.
I know.
Right now.
I'm feeling pretty good about how my goals went. And I had some personal goals too, like I wanted to I had a boat and I trash picked it, my first boat. And it took me like a year and a half to redo completely. And I had a goal of buying a bigger boat that I could comfortably sleep myself and some friends on. And I just gave myself a couple months to finish it. And I did. And my boat is like pretty much done now. So that was another personal goal that I really wanted to do.
Yeah, you're really nailing it.
Yeah. I think my only personal goal that I didn't hit, I wanted to like sit down and read a book, one a month. And I don't think that I did that.
That's been one of my goals like every year. But I always set the bar too high, and I always do one a week, like 52 books in a year.
If you could do that, that would be amazing.
I know it's really some people do, and it's like I love. I don't know if I love reading, so I love the idea of reading. I buy a lot of books. That might be one of my 2022 goals. One a month. Yeah. I think that's really good.
One a month is realistic. Yeah. And I wish that I had hit it, but I just, life got away from me and things happen. But I mean, I read several books, so that's good, but I didn't hit that goal.
You know how to read. That is a big goal in itself.
I do. Yeah.
So
I do
congratulations.
Know how to do that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, what about you? What were your 2021 goals?
So 2021 was, it was a little crazy because obviously everything that's going on in the world, and shortly after 2021 started, I became a father, which is a big life change. So a lot of the goals that I had in previous years were usually around finances with the business, like we want to hit this goal for revenue or stuff like that. But this year I was more focused on trying to find a better work-life balance, because before being a father, I would do all of the video editing and all the social media stuff after work.
Yeah.
And once you're a father and you have somebody to take care of when you come home, that's just not, it's not something that I wanted to do. I didn't want to be working all the time. I'm still working on it, so I don't know if I would say that I've achieved that goal, but it's definitely gotten a lot better. And part of that is from bringing on more people to delegate some more stuff like you. And so I'm still trying to find that balance, but I tried to put aside a lot of the revenue goals and stuff like that because I wanted to try to get things a little bit more manageable on a personal level.
Yeah, find a balance.
Yeah, I'm kind of addicted to working all the time and always thinking about it. If I didn't have anything else going on in my life, I would probably work 18 hours a day. Like I can just go home, go on the computer, start editing, and just go with stuff for forever. So that's something I've really tried to reel in, and I've definitely made a lot of headway there, but still a work in progress. So this year, I've got that a little bit more under control and a little bit more balance in my life. So I'm ready to reevaluate for next year in the business and get back to like setting those goals and trying to really take things to the next level.
Yeah. And I feel like the past 2 years, it's been really hard to, like, you can set financial goals for a business, but everything has been so up in the air. Like even just the cost of materials and all that kind of stuff has really fluctuated. So I can totally see how those goals would be like difficult to manage. But should we talk about the best ways that we like to attain our goals?
Yeah. I think that's really important when you're setting goals, is to like have a kind of a template for where you're going to check in on those goals, how to set realistic goals, and make sure that you do it in a way that is productive, because you can set goals that are either too big, too vague, and you're not really even giving yourself a chance in the beginning, and that can be really discouraging. So setting goals should be something that really motivates you, and you should be able to set milestones where it's actually achievable. You know, you want to find that balance between a goal that's too small and a goal that's too big, but have something that's manageable so that you can have that encouragement. Like, okay, I've gotten to this point of my goal, and set milestones along the way so that you can be encouraged as you go.
Yeah. So set like attainable goals and then be mindful of your reach goals. Like if you're at $100,000 in sales right now, don't be like, okay, next year I'm definitely going to hit 2.5 mil.
Yeah.
That's going to be how it goes. Like you need to think of where you would like to be and then just bump it up like a little bit. So it's just a small reach. Yeah. And then set that as your reach goal.
And also don't just set like one goal for the entire year. Like I want to go from 100,000 in sales to say 500,000 in sales. And just look at it at the end of the year. You kind of lose track of where you're at with it, how to adapt during the year. So instead of doing that yearly goal, set that as the overall goal, but have milestones along the way. Like each quarter, we should be hitting 125,000. That's right?
125,000?
Yeah, each quarter. That equals 500. I just did that in my head. I'm like a math whiz.
Oh, you said 500,000.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I thought you were going for $1 million, and I was like, that
doesn't know. That would be 250,000.
Yes.
So have like shorter time periods for some of those goals, and then you can evaluate how you're tracking that goal, and whether you are way behind, you're a little bit ahead. And if you're way ahead, you can even reevaluate your goal and maybe say, all right, maybe we can get to $600,000 in sales. But if you just have that full year period, you can kind of lose touch with the goal, and you just kind of like drift through, and then kind of look at it at the end, like, did we hit it or did we not? So
and also hitting goals feels so good that if you're hitting those quarterly goals, it like motivates you more to keep going. Like if you're like, oh my gosh, yes, I have this win. We nailed it this quarter. Let's keep going. I'm so motivated to get to next quarter. And then It's like a snowball effect. If you just set like one ambiguous goal, like, okay, next year, that's not like super exciting. It's, you got to do things to make yourself motivated.
Yeah. So
stay motivated.
I think that's a really good first step for people that are setting goals. Whatever goal you have, break that big goal into smaller goals and set shorter time periods for that. So
especially if it's like financially driven.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I said, you can reevaluate if you set up milestones that are quarterly, you can reevaluate each quarter and say, maybe that was too much. And say you don't hit that 500,000 and you get to 400,000 at the end of the year. That's still a huge growth going from 100 to 400,000. Mm-hmm. So being like honest with yourself as you're going and maybe giving yourself some flexibility to adjust the goal if it's not realistic, because at the end of the day, you want to hit your goals, and that $400,000 a year is still a really, really big win. So I think that's something to really keep in mind, is have those smaller goals as part of a large goal.
Yes. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
This bubbly is really,
Maybe bubbly wasn't the best for an audio podcast, but anyway, yes. So
name some ways, because you're definitely better at the tracking. Mm-hmm. I'm more dream really big. Usually a lot of my goals are sort of vague and just big, ambiguous, vague goals, like, grow our YouTube channel as much as we can.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty good at staying motivated within that goal, but I think having some more organization around it is going to help me out a lot in the new year. So kind of lay out some of the ways to track your goals and just to stay on course with them, because that's definitely something that you're much better at.
Yeah. So what I like to do is really set aside a portion. I mean, I know some people do it daily to check in with themselves, or I like to do it weekly. Like every Monday morning I sit down and I like kind of map out my week, and I take that time to not only like think about what I'm doing that week or that month, just really check in with myself and see where I am on hitting those goals. And during New Year's is the time where I usually kind of, if I have a goal, then I kind of map out for the year where I need to hit certain things. So I keep it, you can do it in a planner or in your phone or however you track things, kind of write down your smaller goals to make sure that you're hitting those milestones. But if you do it every week and if you make sure that it's in your face and you're sitting down and mindfully taking time to really evaluate, I think that goes so far, because it's so easy to just kind of lose, you get so caught up in the grind and you're working and you have your family to take care of and all this kind of stuff. You get distracted, and it's easy to blink and a month goes by and you don't even know it. Yeah. Like it's easy to get caught up. So what I like to do is keep myself organized. I love paper. Most of my stuff is on the computer, but when it comes to planning, I like to do it in an actual physical planner. And I like to write out like what I've done. If I need to do different steps, I write those down and I kind of do it as a checklist, and I can check off that's another thing that feels great, to check things off of a checklist. But I think it's great to really take some time to really mindfully sit down and be like, okay, where am I this week? What do I need to do to get that goal? What part am I in to get to that goal? Really just do it mindfully, and that really helps. And if you set that time aside and every Monday morning I'm going to sit down with myself for 15 minutes and just kind of assess where I'm at, then you'll do it every Monday morning or whatever time works for you.
Is this something that you actually do now?
Yeah.
You do? Mm-hmm. That's really impressive. I'm really, really impressed by that. That's something that I've always tried to set up, those type of check-ins on a more regimented basis, and it's been really hard for me to stick with that. But I think that is such a good point, that if you either set aside the time that you're going to sit down and evaluate where you're at with your goal, and you really stick to that and be dedicated to just taking that time once a week or whatever increment you want to do, not only does it help you check in with the goals, but all week, next Monday, I got to sit down for a half hour, an hour, whatever it is, and be real with myself of what I did in the previous week to get closer to that goal. So I think not only does it help you stay on track, checking in with it once a week, it also helps you during that whole week because you know that check-in's going to come, and you're just in a better frame of mind of achieving your goals. You know, because you know you're going to have that check-in with yourself, and as long as you're honest with that weekly check-in and you're dedicated to it, you don't want to sit down with yourself and say, man, I really didn't do anything this previous week to get me closer to my goal. So
yeah.
I love that idea.
I think it helps me do things mindfully too, because sometimes like I'll leave a day at work. Like we do a lot of different things and there's a lot of things that come up and it's easy to feel scattered.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll go home and I'll be like, oh my God, I feel like I didn't do anything today.
Yeah.
But if you're really mindfully doing things and you're like, oh no, I know that I have to do all of these things, or it like helps you track those things. Like, okay, it felt like I didn't do anything, but I actually did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Because I had to. But like if you forget about it, it's, you know, it's out of your brain. Sometimes you just do things.
Yeah,
and
kind
you're
of on autopilot.
Yeah, and you're not really thinking about it, but it's a huge thing and you got it done.
Yep.
So having that check-in really helps me at least feel like I've
accomplished something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can kind of like, and I do this all the time. Like if I have a period where I'm not super productive or just working on a big idea or something like that, I kind of forget about all the other stuff that I've done, and I'm kind of like hard on myself sometimes that, all right, we could have done another video, or I could have, you know, done this or that. And if you really step back and look at it, we're doing a lot of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And I need to, if you check in with yourself, you'll realize that, and you'll know what's important, what you need to accomplish, make sure that's accomplished, and then move on to the next thing. And you won't be looking at it in such a vague sense where you just have this feeling because you weren't busy for an hour or two that you didn't do anything all day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like back in my corporate life, we would always have employee reviews, and in a sense you dread them, but I always loved them because it's a check-in where somebody else was checking in with you and kind of telling you how you were doing, and it's kind of nice to hear from an exterior or an external person. But like for a person like you where you own your business, no one's doing that to you. Yeah. So it's kind of nice to just at least take the time to do it with yourself. Like, okay, I know I did these things. I want to accomplish these things, so I have to do these other things to get there. Yeah. So it's just like another check.
Well, there's a new goal for me for 2022. Do a weekly check-in with myself. So, summarizing all of that stuff, making sure you're setting realistic goals that are actually measurable, you know, setting an actual concrete thing that you can measure up against to see how you're doing, and check in with that goal in shorter time periods, and even break that goal down into smaller goals to help you get to the big goal, but it'll help you evaluate how you're making out on the way towards that goal.
Yes. And think of actual actionable steps to get to that point. Yeah. Don't just say, oh, I want to get 1 million in sales. I hope it happens. Yeah. Like, think of actual
it's more than
steps that
just setting an intention. It's setting up a plan of how you're going to get there. And I think breaking it down into smaller goals is really important, because getting from, say, 100,000 to 300,000 is you're going to have to do a lot of different things than getting from 300 to 1 million. Like all the things that you're going to have to do to get to each point are going to be different. So if you break it down, the actionable steps that you're going to have to take are going to be different for each portion of that goal. So it helps to break it down, because you're not going to do the same thing getting from 100 to 200 that you are at 900 to 1 million. Yeah. It's going to be completely different. So if you break it down, you can kind of adapt around that, which I think could be really helpful for people. Yeah.
That's so true. I hadn't considered that, but that is very true. And that's also good, not even just for like a year plan, for like a 5-year plan. If you do want to make those big steps, don't make it a 1-year plan, make it a 5-year plan, and really come up with, okay, this year's focus, we are focusing on revenue growth at a production level. Yeah. For the next 3 years, we're going to focus on marketing and really getting our name out there. And then for the last year, we're going to focus on
efficiency.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. I like that.
So should we talk about what our goals are for 2022? Because we made a goal to make goals for this year. So we already achieved that because we came up with some goals for next year. I think we're at a place where things are kind of stabilizing within the industry. There was a lot of issues with production, with availability of certain things. So it was really hard to plan around a lot of things in the past 2 years. Now things are starting to stabilize a little bit more. So I think it's more, it'll be a lot easier to set goals and know what to expect from external things that, you kind of can't control. So let's get into what we came up with for 2022. We got some pretty big goals.
Yeah.
Based
They're pretty
around
exciting.
1 million. A couple of them are.
Yeah, our theme for next year is 1 million.
Yes. Do you want to expand on that at all? What do we got 1 million of?
We want to have 1 million in revenue and 1 million total followers.
Yeah. So we want to do 1 million in total sales on the actual install side of the business, which is this year we'll probably end up at around 750,000. It's kind of it's not a huge jump to 1 million, but it's a huge jump for us while also doing all the other stuff that we're doing, like
and keeping it one crew.
And so we have a lot we need to really maximize the efficiency of what we have going, because we're also trying to do all those other things. Like, we just started a podcast that we have to keep up with. We are doing all these YouTube videos and Instagram videos and all that kind of stuff. So for us, it's really trying to maximize the efficiency of what we can do while also keeping all this other stuff up in the air. Because if we weren't doing all the content stuff, I think hitting 1 million in sales would be super easy.
Yeah.
We could definitely do that. But all the other stuff that we're doing takes up a lot of time. It takes up a lot of mind power, all that kind of stuff. So 1 million in sales is our first goal for next year. Yeah. This bubbly is really, really making me burpy. So what's the other 1 million goal that we have?
Our other 1 million goal is 1 million total followers across all of our platform. We're currently just over probably roughly 400,000.
Yeah.
We've got some big goals for growth.
We do.
Across all platforms.
I really feel like that is going to be something that's, not that it's going to be easy to attain, but I really think that we're definitely going to hit that. We've seen
that's a good attitude to have. I love it.
I mean, you kind of have to have that attitude before the year even starts, otherwise you're doomed.
Yeah.
But we've seen a ton of growth since you've came onto the crew, and it's given us more time to sit back and analyze what's working. Whereas before, I was just kind of going as fast as I possibly can to do all of the administrative stuff on the business side, plus make the videos, edit them, upload them. And then you really need to have time to monitor what's going on and analyze it to see what's working, and then do more of that, and what's not working and do less of that. So that was something I never really had the time for. That was the last thing that, that's the end of all of that work, is once it's done, sit back and analyze it and then make changes. So with you coming on, we've been able to sit back and analyze what's working and make more of the content that is doing really well. And we've taken, I think when you started, TikTok was probably around 60,000-ish. Do you remember?
I think it was about 40,000.
I think it's grown a lot.
It's grown a lot.
In 4 months now, it's up to just about 130,000. So that's, we might be at 1 million before February.
Yeah.
So that's grown a lot. That one we've had the most growth on. Instagram, we were kind of stuck around that 60,000 mark for quite a while, and now 4 months later, what are we at? 78,000. So Instagram's a little bit tougher because it's so saturated. So I think that we can easily see the biggest amount of growth on TikTok because it's so new. There's so many people on it, but not as many content creators on there. So Instagram's a little bit harder to predict, but we're starting to figure out what's working on there, and that's been growing a lot, which is really great to see. Facebook, we have about 25,000 followers on our business page. That's probably the biggest opportunity where we haven't put a ton of effort, but it's something that we'll start to evaluate more.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously our YouTube channel, which is at currently our highest amount of followers, subscribers at 164,000.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those added together with a little bit on LinkedIn as well is right around 400,000 followers. And we want to 2.5 times that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
I think
right?
Since I've come, we have had like exponential growth recently. And I just think that that's, the more love you get it, the more love you give back. So I think that I think if it's our goal, we're going to nail it.
100%.
And I think it will be challenging because we're adding the podcast into things, and the podcast is wonderful and it's been great so far. But it is going to take up a lot of time to also grow this at the same time. But that's a fun challenge, you know?
Yeah.
I think
I'm up for it.
I think we're going to do great.
I think we're definitely
super confident in both of us and our abilities and
absolutely
what we can do.
Absolutely. And so those are probably our two biggest goals.
Yes.
I mean, they're 1 million goals. Those are big goals.
I like that though, having a theme for like.
I know. We were trying to think of a third thing around 1 million. The first thing that came to my mind was do 1 million push-ups in a year. But then I realized that, how many was that, like 4,000 a day?
It was 2,700 a day.
Yeah, that's too many.
Yeah.
I can't do that many. Well, I guess not with that attitude.
Not with that
No.
attitude, no.
we were trying to think of something else around the 1 million thing, but we couldn't come up with anything. Possibly 1 million minutes listened to this podcast.
Yeah.
Which would be, if everybody listened to it for the full hour, it would be like 17,000 downloads. And after just a couple weeks, we're almost at 1,000 downloads already.
Yeah.
And if you include the YouTube views, we're over 1,000 already, which I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
So for those bigger goals, we're going to have to break those down into smaller trackable goals. And
yes,
obviously with the 1 million in revenue, we're going to track it quarterly, and we're going to set a goal for $250,000 each quarter. And then we can check in on a more regular basis. Like, okay, we're halfway through the first quarter. Are we close to 125,000 in sales, or not? And since we already have pretty much the whole year sold out, it's more tracking what we've actually accomplished, because we can easily sell $1 million, but it's really how much can we do in the year.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the biggest thing to track, where we're at on our timeline of where we're projecting timelines of jobs to be and where we actually end up being. That's going to be the biggest thing to track, and how we can adjust and make sure that if we're behind, we can hopefully get back on track, or, just track it as we go instead of looking back at the year and be like, oh, we're only at 600,000. Well, all right, let's reevaluate for next year.
Yeah.
We can adapt on the fly, which is going to be helpful.
Yes. I think, do you want to talk about our new secret goal?
Secret goal. Yeah, so I think this was really kind of born out of us talking about our goals. And the first two that we came up with were those first two, the $1 million in revenue and 1 million followers online.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you just say that out loud a couple times. It's like, wow, those are really shallow goals. All we care about is money and followers online. It's a little bit more than that, because, with the followers, we want to kind of give back to people, share our knowledge, the knowledge that we do have.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is a little bit altruistic. Hopefully it's helping people.
Yeah.
But we want to do at least one project pro bono for somebody in need. Somebody that
that deserves it.
Yeah, somebody that deserves it. Somebody that needs like a relaxing space. Maybe they're a first responder, or just somebody that's been through it, needs a relaxing space, and that is one of our goals, to give back this year and do a project for free.
Yes.
So we're not totally sure how we're going to go about that yet. Maybe we'll take submissions, but it's definitely a goal for this year, and I think I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I think that's it's kind of a treat for us too. Like, when you hustle so much for money and stuff, and like you said, it kind of feels shallow at a certain point. But if you get to really take the time to find somebody who deserves it, and and what we do is such a nice, like, we give people this beautiful experience in their own home. Yep. And it's kind of like everyone deserves to have that. Everyone deserves to have a little peace of mind in their own home. So.
And there's a lot of people that just give so much to other people, whether it's at their job or, maybe they volunteer or they've just been through a lot themselves. I think it's something that they would really like impact their quality of life. And, I think it's nice for people that are giving so much of themselves to get something in return. And so that's one of our goals. And
yes,
I also really love the idea of if we're giving it away for free to somebody, I get 100% creative control over it, which is going to be great. So
that will be fun. That'll be really fun.
That I'm really excited for. So we're not sure when we're going to be able to do it. But it's definitely a goal that is pretty important to me that we do. Yeah. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to do it. So what else do we have? Those are like the three main business goals, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have any personal goals you want to talk about? Have you thought about it
yet? I do,
yeah.
Ooh. So I'm a new dad. The dad bod is definitely a real thing. And this is not another vain, shallow thing like the money and the followers. Not that I want to look better. I want to be healthier. I've put on some pounds. Need to shed those pounds in the new year and just get back to more. I've always loved working out, whether it's running or working out in the gym or stuff like that. It just makes me feel better. It makes me more focused the rest of the day. You kind of like shed that cloudy fog in your brain. So it's something I know has always helped me. I always feel better after I do it.
Yeah.
But, with all this stuff going on, it's tough to find time for it. So that's one of my big goals is to get back to a regular workout routine. 4 to 5 days a week is what I usually aim for. So that's my goal.
Yeah.
My biggest goal.
It's a good goal.
Yeah.
You're going to have to break it down into actionable steps.
I know.
To keep yourself accountable.
I know.
But we're like...
How about you just check in with me and you're like, did you work out today? You loser.
I was just going to say, we're kind of trapped in this van with each other, and that's also one of my goals. So we're going to have to hold each other accountable for that.
Yeah.
Because one of my goals is to be one of these 5 a.m. people. I want to wake up 5 a.m. every morning, which is something that I used to do because I had to, because I would leave my house very early to commute to work. But I wasn't waking up that early because I wanted to have free time in the morning. I had to get out the door.
Yeah.
But I want to be one of those people that wake up at 5 a.m., work out, have time to read those books that I never have time to read during the normal week.
Yep.
So that's definitely one of my goals, to be a 5 a.m. person Monday to Friday.
I've gone through really long stretches where I am a 5 a.m. person. And I tend to wake up early anyway.
Yeah.
Especially lately. I wake up at like 5:30, like 6 at the latest. And I'm just kind of like up and not doing anything, just kind of meandering around. But when you get into the habit of waking up, and I think the most important thing with that is picking something that you're going to do right away.
Yeah.
So I'll get into kicks of running in the morning, and that's definitely my favorite time to run just because I hate when people are like out and they're watching you. I don't know, it just seems weird. I like to do it early in the morning. There's not anybody out. And picking that one thing, like if you're going to run that morning, you just get up, you put your shoes on, and you immediately go outside and just start doing it.
Yeah.
Because if you're like, oh, I want to work out and I want to read and I want to do some meditation, then you just kind of get up, and at least most of the time for me, I end up just like looking at my phone or something, because it's not like, okay, as soon as I wake up, I put my running shoes on, I get outside, I run, and then that like, it shocks you awake, and it just gets you set up to probably do those other two things that you wanted to do. Yeah. You're like, okay, now I'm done my run, I'll stretch, maybe I'll meditate, and then maybe I'll read 10 pages of this book that I'm reading.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
You got to just get out there.
Yeah.
Right away.
I think I set myself up for failure because I cannot run in the morning. I have tried that so many times. If I run after dinner,
that attitude.
Well, I'm a late night runner. I like to, if I run after dinner, I can run forever and I feel great. I don't know why, but if I run first thing in the morning, it like makes me feel ill. But if I wake up and like I could go to the gym or I could do yoga, I just need to, when I'm in my weekly planning sessions, I'll just plan out my week and say, Monday's going to be my yoga day. Tuesday will be my gym day.
Yep.
See, actionable plans.
Actionable plans. And one of the other goals that I have for this year is to get back into meditation, because I am somebody that obviously you've been working with me for 4 months. I mean, you've known me for a long time, but I think working with me has really given you a good picture at just how bad my ADHD is. I am like all over the place and my mind is like a tornado. But meditation is one thing that helps me kind of quiet my mind, and I always have 100 things just floating around in my brain. But I find that when I'm in the habit of meditating on a daily basis, it helps me like kind of step back and look at those things and kind of like cipher through them a little bit better. Like, okay, these are the things that are floating around in my brain right now. Okay, let me just do this one thing. Because otherwise, if it's just more abstract and you just feel all this stuff that you have to do, at least this is how I experience it. Maybe people without ADD won't understand what I'm saying, but it just feels like this cloud in my brain that gives me like anxiety. Like, I know I have 100 things to do, but where do I start? So it helps me kind of quiet that. And I went through over a year of doing meditation every day. I use the Calm app, and that tracks your progress. So like my longest streak was, I think, close to 400 days. So I was really, really good at it for a while, at sticking to it.
Yeah.
And like some days you feel like you can't do it at all, but it's just about taking that 5, 10, 30 minutes. Sometimes I'll do it up to an hour, and it really, really
an
helped
hour?
me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
When I jump into something, I really want to like test it out and try to get the most out of it.
Yeah.
But just being consistent was the biggest thing for me. It just helped me check in with myself every morning and kind of like quiet that chaos that's constantly going in my brain.
Yeah.
So that's another big goal for me. Get back to a meditation practice.
Yeah. I think, like you said, when you have 1,000 things floating around in your head and it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
I think another good thing for goals is writing things down. Like it's so, and I know even like in our van with our whiteboards, it feels better to just have things written down and outside of your brain. It doesn't feel so overwhelming. If you just write it down, that feels so much better. Because
a lot of times the things that are kind of floating around in your brain, it might be 3 things that are really important that you really have to do, that should get done, that it's imperative that these things get done. They're actually really important. But then usually once you write down the things that are floating around in your brain, you realize a lot of the other things like aren't that pressing, aren't that important.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be stressed out about them. Maybe it's something you need to get to in the next week or the next month.
Or it's something that's going to take 5 minutes and you just need to like sit down and do
I
it.
put off 5-minute things all the time.
Yeah.
Sarah always yells at me for it because she'll be like, can you put the trash out? And I'll be like, yeah, I will. Just let me sit down for a little bit. And she'll be like, you're definitely going to forget. I'm like, no, I won't. I definitely won't. But if you just do that thing right then, you're just done with it.
Yeah.
And it's over.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something really good to think about. Do you have any more personal goals?
Yeah, I've got a lot of personal goals. I don't know. I don't want to bore the people to death with my personal goals, but
rattle them off real quick. What do you got?
I'm going to buy a Ford Bronco. I don't care what year it is. It can be from the 70s. It can be from the 90s. It can be a new one. I am going to buy one. I've wanted one since I was 15 years old. And this is my year. I'm going to do it. It sounds like another superficial goal, but it means a lot to me. I even wrote it in my senior bio for high school. Yeah, how bad I wanted one. So,
wow.
Now that they have the new ones, they're all sold out. And I've been told a million times that if I want one, I have to pre-order a 2023.
No, get an older one. When you first said that earlier, I thought you just meant a new one, and I was like, Catherine's another shallow goal. All we care about is money, followers, and a new
and
car.
brand new cars.
But if you get like an old one, that's just sweet.
I will buy
like
an old one and then I'll fix it. I don't care what kind of. But that's another problem. When I first wanted one, they were like
Easy to get.
$2,000,
Yeah.
junk cars, no one wanted them. Now they're so popular, and I saw one online that was like a 1995 with like 200,000 miles on it, and it was listed for $30,000. And I was like,
Was it OJ's actual?
it looked like it, but it wasn't OJ's actual
Okay.
car. But I will buy it, and I will fix it, and I'll learn whatever I have to do if I have to. But this is the year.
Yeah.
2022 is the year of the Bronco for me.
Wow.
I don't know why it matters so much to me, but that
Yeah,
like it matters
odd.
a lot.
It's good to have
But
those goals.
you need to have personal goals.
You
yeah.
do.
But also I am on the fundraising committee for my local sailing club, and I have a lot of goals around that because they need to raise a lot of money. So I want to be the one to raise a lot of money for them.
Yeah. And they need to raise $1 million.
They do need to raise $1 million.
If anybody's really passionate about sailing and historic yacht build, what is it? It's like
It's a historic racing club, a sailing club.
historic racing club, and it's like a house that's on the water. What do you? Is it like? It's like a dock.
It's a pier with a
Pier.
building on it.
Yeah, pier with a building, and they need to raise $1 million to fix it for what, a 300-year plan. So it'll be good.
It's a 100-year plan.
100. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to donate to that, you'll help Catherine out with one of her goals for
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Just little things here and there, but those are my big ones.
Those are the big goals.
Yeah. What about you? You said all yours?
I think so. I want to be healthier. I want to continue to work towards more of a work-life balance, and I want to get back into a regular meditation practice because it's something that really helps me just deal with my ADHD and kind of quiet my mind and help me focus a little bit better. So
Yeah.
that's pretty much it. I don't want to
That sounds
overwhelm
so much-
myself
yeah.
with, because you set too many goals and you'll never achieve them.
That's true.
Because it's just like, you feel like if you didn't start everything in the first week, you're like, well, all right, I'll just wait till next year. So those are the ones that are most important to me. I'm going to stick
Yeah.
to those. And
I feel like a jerk that you chose meditation and I chose the Ford Bronco, but
yep, you're
To each his
pretty
own.
shallow. Yeah.
I have a working out goal too. That's,
Yeah.
we all have our goals. It's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever your goals are.
And the
It's
working
fine.
out is not shallow.
It's for health.
It's for health.
It's for health and mental health,
Yeah.
which is also very important.
very important. Yes. So let's not go too much into that because that's going to be one of
That's
our
another,
future episodes.
that's a future episode. So we won't talk
Um,
about that. But how about we listen to some other people's?
Yeah, we got a couple calls in here, so let's see what we got on the hotline.
Let's see what we got. First up is John. Let's get this going. Here we go.
Hello, this is John with Bayside Outdoor Living out of Baltimore, Maryland. Just wanted to share some of our 2022 goals for this season. We want to install 3 pools this year and really grow on our outdoor design. We are interested in growing a second crew and doubling our workload this year. And one of our third goals is to get more into commercial plantings. We're kicking off the spring with a 700 tree install, and I'd love to do potentially a few more of those for the season as well. Give us a good workload to get done. And I've got a few more, but that's it for now. So looking forward to the season. I hope everybody's doing well. Everybody does well this year, and looking forward to hearing everybody else's goals as well. Thanks.
Did he say 700 tree install?
He did, yeah. That's
So
so many
many.
trees, yeah. We appreciate your call, John. That's John from Bayside Outdoor Living. We really appreciate that, and it sounds like he's got some very big goals. The biggest thing that sticks out to me is the pool installs. A lot of people are trying to get into installing pools now that fiberglass pools are becoming more popular. The installation is very similar to a lot of hardscape installations as far as the equipment that you need. If you have an excavator and skid steers and you can move a lot of material, you kind of have what you need to install fiberglass pools. And with every pool company, at least around here, being booked out a year, 2 years, it's almost impossible to find a pool company that has space in their schedule to install a pool. So it's something that we've sort of looked into.
Yeah.
I don't think we're ready for it this year.
Maybe a 2023 goal.
Maybe a 2023 goal, but it's interesting to hear more and more people say that they want to start installing pools. So I think,
Yeah.
John, that's a great goal. 3 is a very attainable number. 3 is measurable.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Absolutely.
You can track your progress getting to that. And it's not too overwhelming. You know, you don't want to say we want to install 15 pools because that's more than one a month. 3, that's one every 4 months. I think you're absolutely going to kill that goal.
Yes, absolutely.
Double the workload. Get a second crew.
Yeah. He also said he wants to get more into commercial jobs.
Yeah.
Which, man, I can't recommend that enough. If you want to make the big bucks,
Yeah?
do commercial stuff.
Really?
Oh, yeah. That's where the money is.
Were you handling any of that kind of stuff at your in your former life?
Yeah.
Any of those maintenance contracts?
Yep. And there's a lot of money in it. So
Really?
So do it. Yeah. And I would see all the bills, and I wouldn't handle the invoices, but I had access to them, so I would see them, and
Yeah.
it's
A lot.
It's worth it. Yeah. If you're
Really?
considering that, if you're considering going residential versus commercial, I don't know everything obviously, so I'm sure that there's a lot of differences as far as
Yeah.
like insurance costs and all that kind of stuff. But
I think one
commercial,
of
and the nice thing that I always like to say is when you do commercial as opposed to real estate, like, or residential, if you're working on someone's house, it's like
they're like
they're
watching
there.
you.
It's like, and it's their home. They care so much more about it.
Yeah.
Not that people don't care about commercial, but like it's personal when you're working on someone's home
Yeah.
and you're around their family and their children and
Yeah.
whatever. If you go to commercial, it's business. That is just
Yeah, just cut this grass,
straight
plant
up
these trees,
business.
and get
Yep.
on your way. We
And you don't
care
have to
that
worry
much.
about someone being like, oh, we can't afford to pay you because
Yeah.
little Joey got sick this month. It's like,
We're a
is-
multi-billion-dollar
Yeah.
real estate company.
yeah. So
That's
that's one of my, that's a
that's really
tip I
interesting.
like to say. Yeah.
And I never even really like thought to ask you about that because obviously that was your former life, commercial real estate.
Yeah.
And you do hear a lot of people say that the margins are too small in commercial work. And I think that kind of comes down to you really, really have to understand your numbers on big commercial contracts because if you mess up big, you're going to, I mean, if you mess up really big on a really big commercial contract, you're probably going to go out of business or, you know, just have to back out of that contract and face whatever consequences come from it because it's usually huge, huge amounts of work,
Yeah.
either tons of mowing, tons
Yeah.
of maintenance, 700 trees. So if you mess up and you don't know your costs, you can really, really get hammered on that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you know your numbers, and it sounds like you recommend it, so that's awesome.
I do. Yeah. Even just like, gosh, the amount of money that the companies that I work for spent on like snow removal were just astronomical. So
Yeah,
and it's usually you can get in with like a landlord or a company and then you do all their properties as opposed to just like hustling per
Yeah.
house.
yeah, definitely.
But just something to consider.
Well,
We have another call. Do you want to go to our other call?
yeah. Well, first we appreciate the call, John.
yes,
we
thanks,
love
John.
we love the goals, and it sounds like he's already on the right track. He's got measurable, attainable, realistic goals, and hey, check in with us throughout the year. Maybe we'll do some check-in episodes, and we'll see how everybody's doing with their goals,
Yeah.
and we'll talk about how we're doing with our goals.
Yeah.
So keep killing it out there, John. Appreciate it.
All right. And next up we have Tony.
Hey, Sean. Tony Zambito from Zamco Group out here in cold, snowy Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Calling just to say, so my goals, I'd say, for the 2022 season are definitely to expand our design division of the company, maybe outside of the province. Aside from that, would definitely be to create better content for our social media, while also becoming more engaging with our followers on social media platforms, so that we could find out what they want us to produce as far as content. Because as you know, it's funner to build the projects when you're creating the content and sharing that with everybody. So that's our goal, to be more attentive to what people want to see, while still building, awesome projects. So that's about it. Love what you're doing. Keep it up, buddy. And that's about all I have to say. Happy New Year and happy holidays.
Appreciate the call, Tony. Tony's the man. I love that guy. Group A Zamco. One of my favorite French Canadian people that I know. Not that I know that many, but he is really an awesome guy, and it's cool to hear his goals because he has a somewhat similar business kind of type to us. He's very design focused, and one of the things that I really love about Tony's business is that it's really hard to develop your own design style, where if you're just scrolling through an Instagram feed, as soon as you see that picture, you know exactly who did the work, like before you even see the name. And he has one of those styles where he does mostly, I don't know if it's mostly or maybe it's just the pictures that I happen to see. It seems like he's doing mostly like driveways and front entrances of houses. And he has like this super unique style that it all looks like his brand, but they're all so different. So I love seeing that from other designers, and it sounds like he wants to expand the design side of his business, which is something I also hear a lot of people wanting to do, because once you get a reputation for that, you know, unique brand as far as design, you can reproduce that and, you know, design for somebody that doesn't live anywhere near you. And it's something that's a lot, not that it's a lot easier to do, but it's a quicker way to kind of get some revenue, and you don't have to be out there actually building the project. So you just take that one aspect of it, you design the project, and then you send them on their way, and they can hire their own contractor, and it's a little bit less of an in-depth relationship where you're not at their house for, you know, a month or whatever. You're just, I'll come up with the design, you get that revenue, and a lot less overhead is associated with that type of work, because really you might have an employee doing it, or if you're doing it yourself, really the only costs you have are computer design software. So it can be a really lucrative part of your business to expand on.
Yeah.
So
for sure. That's great. I think that that's really interesting, because we've talked about just doing designs, and I always think that that's so interesting to think about how different each part of the country is with their designs.
Yeah.
Or in his case, he's in Canada. So
yeah,
where did he say he was from?
he's
Quebec?
from Montreal.
Montreal.
Yep.
So that would be really interesting to learn, you know, if you're going to do designs all over the country, because if you look at a house from New Jersey and then a house from California, like totally different styles. So
yeah,
that's really interesting. Yeah,
definitely. And that's something that, you know, maybe I don't think for 2022, it's something that we really have to lock down what we have going on currently before we look at expanding into something like design, because it's just too time consuming for us right now. But it's definitely something that I probably see in our 5-year plan to expand on that and almost have that run as kind of a standalone part of the business, where it's definitely a lot easier to scale that side of it because we have the reach. Really, it's just kind of finding people to team up with me and pump out designs that kind of speak to our brand.
Yeah.
So that's good to hear that he's trying to expand on that, and he's trying to up his social media game, listen to kind of what other people want to see, what his current followers want to see more of. And that kind of goes back to what we were saying with having the time to sit back and kind of analyze what's working and then do more of that.
Yeah.
And it's such a thing that people don't think about. Like, you know, you just create the content, you throw it out there, but a huge part of it is like analyzing what's working and what's not. What do people want to see more of? Reading and responding to all the comments, because that's where you're going to get the feedback. So that's a lot of work, and it's cool to see him recognize that and want to expand on it, because he definitely has the quality work, the really cool designs, where he could, you know, sky's the limit for him on social media, but it's just putting in that time to analyze what's working, listen to your current followers, and just do more of that.
Yeah. And I think that kind of leads into what we were saying about our social media episode. And I think that social media growth is in a lot of people's goals for next year. And it's so important to a lot of people just think like, oh, just pump out a lot of content.
Yeah.
My goal is to pump out, 2 posts a day for the whole year. But having those like reflective stages in your goal setting are so important to sit back and analyze or reflect on what people actually want to see.
I mean, that's something that we're starting to talk about all the time. And I think with our 1 million total followers goal, that's going to be really important. Like, I'd say at least twice a week, we just kind of sit here and kind of talk about like how we want each of us to be perceived, how we want the brand in general to be perceived, and just reflect on that and not make too drastic of changes. A lot of times we kind of end up with, maybe here's a small idea that we can implement, but mostly at the end of the day, I feel like we're being true to who we are as a company, as individuals, and we need to stay the course on that. But it's something that we talk about a lot. So we are spending a lot of time analyzing what's working, but also just reflecting on the branding as a whole and all of our content as a whole.
Yeah.
So is that where we should leave it? Because this one, to be continued, obviously.
Yeah.
2022.
I already can't wait to like listen to this back next year.
And
next
be like,
years.
We only wanted 1 million in sales. We reached
That's crazy. We got
1 billion. That's insane. But I think setting the goals is great, and it's important to set the goals and have those good intentions going into the new year, but it doesn't mean anything unless you follow through and you track it.
Yes.
And I feel like I've achieved a lot of my goals that I've set, but they've been so vague, and it's just by like sheer determination and like grit that, it could have probably been a lot easier if I had analyzed it along the way.
Yeah.
And that's where like some organization and a process and a timeline and setting aside a time each week to reflect on it is really going to be helpful. So
yes,
that's what we're going to do in 2022.
Yes, we are.
That rhymed, so.
So it's going to work out.
Oh, yeah, totally. So I'm going to be counting on you to hold me accountable.
And I'm going to be making you hold me accountable, too. We're gonna be in this van just goal setting and
crushing goals.
It.
Yep. So I hope everybody has a great New Year's. Really enjoy the last couple days. Like, we're sitting here drinking champagne out of the bottle because, we're going to start fresh on Saturday anyway. So why not? Enjoy the last couple years. I hope you did, because this is going to come out after the New Year. So, enjoy that time. Take some time to reflect on what goals you want to set for the year, and, be honest with yourself. Make sure you're checking in with yourself, or team up with somebody else and share your goals with each other.
Yeah.
I don't recommend sharing them with too many people because,
that was another point that we wanted to make.
Oh.
I totally forgot about that.
It was?
Yeah.
See, I just
like have other people that will hold you accountable, but make sure that you seek out people that you find inspirational for those goals.
Yeah.
Because if you hang out with 5 smart people, you will be the 5th. Or the 6th. If you hang out this champagne has gone to my head.
Oh yeah.
If you hang out with 5 motivated people, you will be the 6th. If you hang out with 5 lazy people, you will be the 6th. Yep. So it's all about who you surround yourself with. Be around people who will hold you accountable.
Yep.
Seek out people who motivate you and you find inspirational.
Yep.
Oh, that was another one of my goals.
What?
To find more women in construction to learn from. That was one of my goals. See?
All right, let's start the episode.
I know. I can talk about this
top.
forever. I love goal setting.
But one of the things, remember, don't set too many goals.
Don't set too many goals.
That one's an easy one. Though.
Yeah.
You can connect with other women in construction.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna have an episode on women in construction.
Yes.
I know some women in construction. We'll get them to call in.
Yeah.
And then you guys can be besties.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. That is one of my more ambiguous goals, that I'm okay with being ambiguous and kind of figuring it out as it goes.
Yeah.
But
you can't like set goals with friendships. It doesn't work like that.
I need 5 inspirational women friends.
Yes. So that's a really good point. I like to say share it with people that are going to hold you accountable, that aren't going to be haters to you, or, I mean, that can kind of go either way. Because I like to
They can be haters, they just can't hold you back. You can't let it hold you back.
Yeah, because I sometimes like to seek some people out that are going to doubt, my vision, because that adds fuel to my fire. I'd love that in a way. But really, the people that you're going to be like, that's good in the beginning to get a little fire under you to get going. Have some haters that say you can't do it, but have maybe an accountability group or just a friend or your spouse or a family member that you're going to set goals with together, and you're going to hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. We're going to make sure that we achieve these goals.
Yes.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting these goals. So seek some people out that are going to help you with those goals, not going to hold you back, and they're going to hold you accountable and say, "Hey, Sean, what did you do to get closer to your goals? You didn't do anything. You're just sitting here drinking champagne out of the bottle. You got to stop that." Mm-hmm. So that's what we're going to do. So I guess that's where we'll leave it, because it's going to be to be continued.
Yes.
It has to be, because the year hasn't started. One more
It's true.
cheers.
Cheers.
Yep. To a successful year, and we'll catch you in the new year. So until next time, this has been the Hardworking Happy Hour.
See you next week.